Today I'm going to teach you how to cook a thick porterhouse steak in a pizza oven in under 10 minutes. To cook this porterhouse steak, we're going to be using the Peter Luger method. We've already turned on our pizza oven. We're going to wait for that thing to dial up to max heat. For this little Gosney treader here, it's going to get to roughly 425 degrees Celsius or about 850 Fahrenheit. Let's get our steak seasoned up. When it comes to seasoning a thick steak like this, realistically, I would have liked to do this the day before so that it could dry brine overnight. That salt could penetrate deeply into the tissue and we'd have the outside very, very dry. I didn't have time to do that, so we are going to be doing it right now. All we're doing is going on with an oil binder and then going on with our salt. Nice and heavy. Whenever salting a thick steak like this, honestly, more salt is going to be better than less salt. Going on with some pepper. Personally, when cooking a steak in the pizza oven, I only go with salt and pepper. I think going on with any barbecue rubs, especially one that's high in sugar, could definitely lead to burning on the outside because of that sugar. All right, look at that, ain't she pretty? Now, if you don't have a sizzle plate, that's totally fine. You can just use a cast iron pan, like a big one that's gonna fit your steak. I would recommend investing in one of these though. They are really, really awesome. They retain heat very well. And they come with this cool little handle which allows you to kind of flip the steak around during the cook. So sizzle plate, handle in, getting our steak on, and in we go. Just like that. Pop the handle off. So now that our steak's in, we're gonna go 2 minutes on this side, pull her out, flip it over, pop it back in, 2 minutes again. The objective of this first sear, these first 4 minutes, is to get a great crust on the outside. So that's all we're doing. We're not cooking the center of the steak. That's for a little bit later on. The smell coming out of that thing is unreal.
A few moments later.
And we are at the 2 minute mark. So we're gonna get our handle, pop it back in, and pull her out. And all we're doing from here is flipping her over and popping her back in for another 2 minutes. I would definitely recommend having some sort of timer here. I've just got my phone to keep track of the minutes. Because we're using such extreme heat, these things are gonna cook very, very quickly. You don't wanna overcook this thing. You leave it for an extra 30 seconds and you could drastically change the cook. All right, and we're at that 4 minute mark. Let's pull her out. Woo. Now we're gonna quickly move the steak onto a wire wrap tray for a minute. Move this to the side because it is extremely hot. And bring our steak in. Although this steak looks completely cooked now, it's actually completely raw in the middle. So now the objective is to get the inside cooked. And all we're gonna be doing now is slicing into thick slices. 1 to 1.5 centimeters is what you want on these slices, nice and thick. Now, let's just give you an example. This is how thick the slices are. Now this step is completely optional, but I do like to put a little bit of compound butter on the bottom of the sizzle plate now. This is just some compound butter that I had from a different video, but we're just gonna lather that on the bottom there. Now realistically, you could put the butter on top, but I think that there is that chance of it burning because we are using, again, such extreme heat. So I like to put it on the bottom. We are then gonna put our bone back in the middle and our steak slices back in. One thing that's very important for this second sear is that the slices are clumped together. If you have them too separated, they might overcook. So make sure that all the pieces are squished together nicely. You're not seeing too much of that pink on the inside. And in she goes. For this second sear, we're gonna have it in there for anywhere from 60 to 120 seconds, depending on how you like your steak. These numbers are not exact 100%, so there will be a little bit of testing here and there and pulling out, checking, popping it back in just to check the doneness, but this is roughly what you want to be aiming for.
A few minutes later.
It has been 90 seconds. Let's take her out and take a look. Ooh. As I said, it's not an exact science, so I do always like to just take a little bit of a peek and see. Look, she's still raw. She needs some more time, so we're gonna go back in there. If you do have to take it out and put it back in, I do like to flip it just to keep things a bit more even, and back in we go. All we're doing now is every 60 seconds, we're gonna take it out, check that doneness, and pop it back in. Let's take a look at a piece. Gonna go for one more rotation, pop it back in again. All right, let's have another little look. Okay, I think she's done. Let's take her out. You do want to make sure you're removing the steak pieces from the sizzle plate fairly quickly, just because that sizzle plate is extremely hot and we don't want the steak to keep cooking. So we're gonna take that bone out first, tenderloin and that strip loin. And one more thing I like to do is grab those butters and just pour it right over. Ooh, there we go. That's what we want. We're gonna leave it there to rest for a couple minutes and then we're gonna dig in. All right, we've got our beautiful steak here. Let's go in and see how we did. Get a little look at that. Oh yeah. Here's a little tenderloin piece. Look at the juices. The exterior will look a little bit more done than the inside of the actual steak. So I've just bitten into this piece. It looks almost well done on the outside, but if you have a look at that inside, that's medium rare right there. Insane. And of course, we got to go in for that best part, the bone. Oh, always the best. And there you go, how to cook a big boy steak in a pizza oven in 5 or 6 minutes. That's all I've got for you today. Have a great one, and I'll see you in next week's video.